Howdy, it's Kyle talking about the largest cities in Ohio. For most states, when you ask what the largest city is in that state, it's a pretty straightforward answer. For Georgia, it's Atlanta. For Michigan, it's Detroit. For New Mexico, it's Albuquerque, and so on. But it's not so simple for Ohio, as each of the three major urban clusters in the state, Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati, can stake claim to being the largest based on what type of criteria you're using. So in this video, I'm going to get down to the bottom of it. What's the largest urban cluster in Ohio? Well, it's complicated. First, a few basic facts about Ohio. At the most recent census, the population was 11.8 million and is growing fairly slowly. It's the seventh most populous state in the U.S. There are three major urban clusters in the state. In the northeast is Cleveland, right along Lake Erie. In the central part of the state is Columbus, the state capital. And in the southwest along the Ohio River is Cincinnati. When looking at just the city populations, the city of Columbus is the largest in the state with a population of about 906,000. Cleveland is second at 372,000 and Cincinnati third at 309,000. So from a pure city jurisdictional perspective, Columbus is the largest in the state. For counties, Franklin County, which is where Columbus is located, is the most populous in the state at over 1.3 million. Cuyahoga County, where Cleveland is located, is the second most populous at just under 1.3 million, and Hamilton County, where Cincinnati is the third most populous at 831,000. But most of the time we use metropolitan area to define the population of the region, not just a single city or county. Now let's take a look at the map of the Columbus metropolitan area. The yellow county is Franklin County, where Columbus is located, and the orange counties are the suburban and exurban counties as defined by the Census Bureau. At the most recent census, the population of the entire metro area is 2,139,000, which ranks at 32nd in the U.S. Now let's take a look at the Cleveland metropolitan area. Cuyahoga County is the yellow one where Cleveland is located, and the other four are the suburban and exurban counties. At the most recent census, the combined population of these five counties is 2,088,000, which ranks at 34th in the U.S. Now let's take a look at the Cincinnati metropolitan area. The yellow county is Hamilton County, where Cincinnati is located, and the orange counties are the suburban and exurban counties. And the total combined population of the metro area at the most recent census is 2,257,000 people, which ranks at 30th in the U.S. So if you base it on pure metropolitan area stats, Cincinnati is the largest, a little bit larger than Columbus, which is a little bit larger than Cleveland. Well, that's pretty straightforward then, right? Columbus is the biggest city and Cincinnati is the largest metropolitan area. End of video. But wait, aren't a bunch of those Cincinnati suburbs in Kentucky and Indiana? There are about 450,000 people in the Cincinnati suburbs in Kentucky and about 80,000 in Indiana. In fact, there are only 1,717,000 people in the Cincinnati metro area in Ohio. So if you go back to that and Cincinnati only having 1.7 million people in the metro area in the state, then Columbus goes back to being the largest metro in the state at 2.1 million. But wait a minute, let's go back to that map of the Cleveland metro area. Why does Cuyahoga County go up to a county that is not part of the metro area? What's up with that? Well, that is Summit County, which is where Akron is. So what happens when two metropolitan areas run into each other and it becomes hard to tell where one ends and the next one begins, that's when it's called a combined metro area. So for Cleveland, the combined metro area also includes Summit and Portage counties, which are the Akron metro area, and also the Canton area just south of that, Carroll and Stark counties. So the Akron and Canton metropolitan areas combined are about 1.1 million, and you add that to the Cleveland metropolitan area and that puts it at just under 3.2 million. So yeah, Cleveland's now the biggest metro in the state. And you really have to do that with combined metro areas. I think the most well-known one is probably Washington, Baltimore, where it's really hard to tell where one ends and one begins. So Cleveland and Akron really do have to be combined into one greater metropolitan area. And again, that makes it the largest in Ohio. And you might be thinking, well, that's not fair. Why does Cleveland get to count Akron and Canton as part of its metro area? Why can't Cincinnati count Dayton and Springfield? And the only real answer to that is because the census doesn't define Dayton and Springfield as part of the Cincinnati combined metropolitan area, although it does Akron and Canton for Cleveland. But you do have to draw the line somewhere as to what would be a single metro area and what would be combined with another one. And so somewhere between Cincinnati and Dayton and Cleveland and Akron, the census decided that these are not the same. Now, I do think that by the 2030 census that Cincinnati and Dayton will be considered just one large combined metro, and the census did add a couple of outlying counties to the Cincinnati metro area for 2020, but they haven't quite pulled the trigger on adding Dayton Springfield to it. However, for this video, I'm going to add Dayton and Springfield to Cincinnati. So we have the 2,257,000 people in the Cincinnati metro area. The Dayton metro area is Montgomery, Greene, and Miami counties, which is a combined 814,000 people. And the Springfield metropolitan area, which is Clark County alone, is 136,000. And then part of the Dayton-Springfield combined metro area are Shelby, Champaign, and Darke counties. They have a combined population of 139,000, so that makes the Dayton-Springfield area about 1,089,000. So when you combine Cincinnati and Dayton, you get over 3.3 million, and now that's the largest combined metro in the state. But wait, remember, some of those are in Kentucky and Indiana. Take those off. If you subtract that from the larger Cincinnati-Dayton overall greater metro area, there are 2,800,000 in that whole combined area just in Ohio. So if you're counting just the amount of metropolitan area in the state, it goes back to Cleveland being the largest at over 3.1 million. So depending on the type of criteria you're using, each of these three large cities can claim to be the largest in the state, but the next question is, does it matter? And the reason why I ask that is because from Cincinnati to Dayton to Springfield to Columbus to Cleveland is almost like one megalopolis. This map shows all three of the large metros combined. As you can see, Cincinnati, Dayton, Springfield, and Columbus are basically all one big cluster. And then those two purple counties in the northeast are Youngstown and Warren, another large metro area that is too far to be considered part of Cleveland, but is still right there next to it. But one thing that is important to note is that the city of Columbus and the Columbus metropolitan area are growing much faster than either Cleveland or Cincinnati. So in 10 years, Columbus might be the undisputed largest in Ohio, but for right now, this is where it stands. I think it's also worth mentioning just how big each city feels. If you were to visit all three cities not knowing anything about their populations and guess the order of population, you would probably guess Cleveland first, Cincinnati second, and Columbus third. So if you're familiar with all three of those cities, let me know if you agree or disagree with that, but I do feel Cleveland is the largest one just in terms of feel. And for me, perhaps the most fascinating aspect of this whole topic is compare these two maps. You can clearly see the line of development of these major metro areas being just outside the heavily forested areas of the state, proving, as we all knew all along, that Ohioans are afraid of trees. Alright, so now for the summary. The largest city in the state is Columbus. The largest county in the state is Franklin County, home to Columbus. The largest single metropolitan area is Cincinnati. The largest single metropolitan area wholly contained within Ohio is Columbus. The largest combined metro area is Cincinnati, Dayton, Springfield. The largest combined metro area wholly contained within Ohio is Cleveland, Akron, Canton. And there is nothing complicated about that. So with that, we can go back and forth and argue with what is the largest city and most populous metro area in the state and blah, blah, blah. But in the end, the only thing that really matters is that it's never wrong to dump chili and cheese on spaghetti. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up to let me know you approve, and subscribe to this channel if you're interested in learning more about geography from a nerdy perspective. But yeah, thanks for watching. Geography King signing out and about to go whip it. Whip it good. I'd like to give a special thanks to my superior patrons for their support. If you're interested in purchasing a pin for the viewer wall map or just to support the channel, check out my Patreon page, link in the description. And as always, thank you very much.